principal and the staff. Let me speak to you all for about 45 minutes on Dhamma, converting this hall to a Dharma Deshana, Dharmashala. And it is customary when you preach Dhamma to invite another set of beings here to listen to Dhamma, in addition to you all. That is the gods. So we all must invite louder. If you know the stanza, if you know the Gatha along with me, you can recite that. Samanta Chakravalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajas Sunantu Saggamukkhadang Dhamma Savana Kalu Ayang Badantha Dhamma Savana Kalu Ayang Badantha Dhamma Savana Kalu Ayang Badantha. Say sadhu. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Put your hands down now. There was a teacher here who disturbed me for the last 1 week on all odd times, asking me to come for this sermon. The lady on my left-hand side. And she was also insisting that I should speak on a particular subject. And she allowed me, or rather suggested to me, Dhammo have rakhati dhammachari. That's a very nice topic. Those who be with Dhamma will be protected by Dhamma. Protected by Dhamma. Now what is Dhamma? If somebody asks me what is Dhamma, to explain that with one word, I will say Dhamma is nature. Buddha has never taught anything against nature. All his preachings, all his sermons were on the subject of nature. Nature is known as Dhamma. That is in sinhala, Swabhava Dharma. Dhamma. Dhamma is a Pali term. Now if the Dhamma is the Swabhava Dharma or the nature, we must know the principles of nature. Then only that we can lead a good life. Now what is nature? Nature has three main phenomena, main dhammas. Now we are at this age today. You can see that two gentlemen here, there's no, one has grey hair, the other one has no hair. This is nature. But you have dark hair, black hair. Huh? Some wants to put little dye and make it dark also when they come to middle age. Now the same principle applies to the trees. A small plant is planted, it grows like you all, decayed after some time, and various diseases to the tree. If there's no water properly put into the tree, then it will not grow that fast. It gives us shade, it gives us fruits, and built up your huge tree. And then it decays and it dies. So the human beings also that. It is the nature. Whatever we see, all this equipment here is subject to decay. So if you know that, if you contemplate on that, then your life will be a very, very pleasant life. When I say that we have to be concerned about the laws of nature, and Buddha has never preached anything against nature, we'll take few examples on this. Now, when you took the 5 precepts to refrain from lying, musavada vermani sikkhapadasa, that I refrain from telling lies. But if you analyze that, the word that we use, it has so many divisions. One is telling lies, word of mouth. Then you carry tales, kelankino. Then empty talks, not valuable, not beneficial to you, not beneficial to others, you just talk, nonsense. Hisvachana. Then the last one is the parusa vacha, harsh words. So the teachers, the sangha, the elders, the parents tell our children that you have to guard your tongue. Do not tell lies, do not carry tales, don't have harsh words against others, to others. Similarly. Now when I start the sermon, when I say it is nature, and when you go against nature, the repercussions will come, the reaction will come, the retribution will come, that is nature. So how can you say that when you tell lies, or when you say empty words, or when you insult somebody, that the reaction is coming according to the nature? I can't say that, but you won't believe that. If you tell lies, if you carry tales, if you get involved in empty discussions, not valuable to you, to others, or to both, harsh words or insulting words to your friend, I say it will react against you. That is nature, principle of nature. How can you prove that? One of the children must ask, Sadhu, we are saying okay, but tell us something where we can, believe that. Now I am going to tell a true story. A very true story. What happened to a young girl like you? Long years back, in Italy, there was a girl of 13 years. How old are you? Yeah? 10. So this girl is about 3 years older than, right? She was 13 years and her name was Mari. What's the name? Mari. 13 years. And the father was a very, very rich person who owned 212 ships. He's a very rich person. He had only one daughter, long years back in Italy. This is a true story. Now suddenly, she fell ill. This little sweet girl fell ill. What is the illness? She became day by day fat. Every day she was putting on weight and she was becoming fat. And this 13-year-old girl could not walk properly because of the fatness. She could not open the eyelids because of the fatness. She could not breathe properly, and she was just kept on a bed. And she was given only liquid food because she was getting fat every day. This girl was fat enough to that extent. Her weight was 413 pounds when she was 13 years. Can you believe that? This father, who is a multi-millionaire, billionaire, took this daughter to all the eminent doctors in the world and said, "This is what is wrong with my daughter. She is getting fat. I don't know why. Please examine her and treat her." The specialists in the world, in very many countries, saw this girl. She was put through various types of examinations, but no doctor could find out what was wrong with her. Her blood was okay, her urine was okay, pressure was okay. But we could see with our naked eye that she is getting fat. So there's a disease, but no medical findings as to the result of the cause of this fatness. And this wealthy father became helpless. With all that money, he could not treat the daughter. He cried alone, he cried. Someone told the father one day, well, there is a Catholic priest in Miami Beach in United States, in America. This priest has the power of reading the past births. So the friend suggested to the father, why not take the daughter there one and get the Catholic priest, the Christian priest, to see what she has done in the previous birth. Took the advice, flew to Miami Beach in States and went in front of this Catholic priest. And the father was very, very polite, innocently told, Father, please look after my daughter's illness. I will pay any amount. I am rich, but I want the daughter to be cured. This Catholic priest had that power to read the past births. In Buddhism, there's called dhyana. When you concentrate your mind to that extent, you can go back to the previous births, and every one of you has that power. What did you eat for breakfast today? Yes, you. Bread and butter, is it? Or rice? Huh? Rice. Rice, pulsambal and paripu, is it? Rice. So that is what you ate this morning for breakfast. What did you have for breakfast yesterday? Nothing. You didn't eat anything. All right. What did you have for breakfast the day before? Stringhoppers? No, you must remember that. Huh? Milk rice. Now what? What's your good name, Puta? Ivanka. Tivanka. Good name. Now Tivanka could remember what he ate this morning, rice. So I asked him, what did you eat yesterday morning breakfast? He said, I can't remember. But I asked the third question, what did you have the day before? Well, milk rice. So that means he has the power to take his mind to 2 days back. You have the power, is it? That is why you answered well. So if I ask you, what did you eat 4 days back for breakfast? Then it is difficult. 4 days, yes. I remember switching on the TV, then the mother came and slapped me, then yes, hoppers. Yes, she brought hoppers. So there's some other connected incident will allow you to think, yes, my mother came and gave me a knock because I was switching on all the bad things in the TV, and she gave me hoppers to eat. So that means this ayah has the power to take the mind back to 4 days. But if you do meditation, close your eyes, and there's a different subject. I am sure the teachers one day will teach you. Meditation, concentrate your mind. When you concentrate your mind can be taken to yesterday, the day before, 10 days before. When you are 5 years, 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, into the womb of the mother and then beyond. That is possible. It is only by training your mind that you can take your mind back to the previous births. So remember that. So from today, learn some meditation, half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the night. You can have that power. Everyone can have. So similarly, this particular Christian priest had that power. Then he went into that trance, having Mari in front, and he started talking of a very, very shocking story of what happened to her in previous birth. This Catholic priest was telling the father, this Mari in this birth had been Mari so many years back, so many atmas back, lives back, in Italy. And then also, at that time also, her name was Mari. So many lives back. Now that was the time where Olympics was first ever permitted for the women to take part. When Olympics started, it was only for men to show the manly strength. But subsequently it was open to the women also. And the very first year, when women was asked to run in the Olympics, there was a girl called Mari at the time. And she ran the 100 meters or 150 meters or whatever, and she became first. Now this story is being told by that Christian monk, Christian priest. That Mari, so many births back, when Olympics was open for women, she ran that short distance and became first. When she became the first ever lady, young athlete, lady athlete to become first in the world in Olympics. This is a true story. All her friends came rushing to her. Some shook hand, congratulated her, some kissed her, some hugged her. Some threw her up in the air. So they were friends were very, very happy. And among the friends, girlfriends that she had, who came to wish her well done, there was a little girl on the fat side. Then this Mari looked at her when among all other friends and told her, look at your figure. You are fat. You are fat, unnecessarily fat you are. Because you are fat, you are ugly. And because of your fatness, you cannot run like me. By telling these words, this Mari ridiculed that girl who was on the fat side. She started crying, that fat girl. She cried and cried and cried because she was ridiculed in front of the friends by this Mari, the Olympic athlete. That fat girl cried and went away out of the grounds. That Catholic priest who was Edgar Casey by name opened his eyes after his trance and told that rich father in this birth, he said, your daughter who is now getting fat, this is the sin she has committed. She has ridiculed another friend and said that she was fat and she's ugly and she cannot run properly. She uses those bad words, empty words, harsh words against that girl and made her cry, and she went away out of the grounds. And this Edgar case, the priest tells the father, this is the sin that she has committed. So as a result, in this very birth, this girl, having not done anything wrong in this birth, she was getting fat. 413 pounds when she was only 13 years. The father was helpless. But Edgar Casey, the Catholic priest, also told him, she has to go through this. There's no medicine for this. She has to go through this until she becomes 21 years old. Then after some time, there's a magazine called Reader's Digest in the world, and the Reader's Digest magazine carried an article to say that this particular Mari, who was fat, when she was 21 years subsequently, she got married, her figure became normal, and she is now living with 2 little children as a good mother. Why was this? Why was this? Because her word was not pure. She ridiculed another girl. So therefore the reaction came. Now this particular reaction after so many births, we call it nature, retribution. If you do bad things, you get bad results. So this is the nature, the law of nature that you children should understand. There are little lies that you wish to make to the teacher. No, don't do that from today. Buddha says, if you lie, you become a person who is always excited, nervous, with fear, if you are in the habit of lying. There's a nice story about Rahula. Who is Rahula Dua? Yes, who is Rahula? How the Rahula can? King Siddhartha's son, Rahula. So Rahula was only 7 years. He became a small Samanera monk. So one day, Buddha told Rahula that every morning I will come to your kuti, little room. Every morning I will come, have a small basin of a bucket of water in front of your kuti to wash my legs and walk into your kuti. So this little Rahula kept a bucket of water for Buddha to come every morning. And one particular morning when Buddha reached, he ran and brought a bucket of water and kept it in front of the door. Buddha walked in very majestically and saw the bucket of water. He poured half of that water onto his legs and washed the legs. And kept a little water inside the bucket. How much of water was kept? Little water left in the bucket. Then the Buddha asked the question by Rahula, Rahula, what is the quantity of water that you have in the bucket? What's the quantity? Little what is left in the bucket. Then he looked at Rahula and said, Rahula, a person who is intentionally lying, his character is also little. He compared that little water to the character of a person. So if you have a little daughter like you lying, your value will be little. You are not lying, no? No. Right. So if you have a son who is lying, if you have a father who is lying, the value of that father, the character of that father, the dignity of that father is very little, like this little water in the bucket. Now that lesson was given to Rahula, so don't tell lies. If you lie, your value, your character is little as compared to this little water in the bucket. Then the Buddha asked Rahula, throw that little water away. And he threw the water away from the bucket. The Buddha asked Rahula, what did you do? No, you wanted me to throw the water away, I threw it off. Then Buddha says, if a monk, if somebody is in a habit of telling lies, he is as if thrown away from the house. If you tell lies, we have a daughter, although she lives in the house, but we treat her as a daughter who has been thrown away, no respect at all, because she is lying. It goes to the sons also. If the children lies, if parents, teachers, governors, officers, if they lie, Buddha says they are as if thrown away from that society. They are not accepted in the society because he was asked to throw that water away. So that example was taken by Buddha and said your character, your personality is also something thrown away from the society. Now the third time, after throwing the water, he was asked to keep the empty bucket as it is. So what do you have in the bucket now, Dua? Do you have water in the bucket? No, because all were thrown away. So what do you call that? When there's nothing in the bucket, what do you call that bucket? It's an empty bucket. Now Buddha says that word empty, uses the word empty and said, if you are a person who are telling lies, who is telling lies, that your character is also empty. No one will trust you. No one will believe you. No one will respect you. No one will bring you into the house because she is lying. This boy is lying. Her character is empty. There's no values to be taken out of that person. Now lastly, there was a final lesson by Buddha to Rahula. He said, okay, put the bucket upside down. That way. When you put the bucket upside down, can you see anything what is inside? No. Can you see anything? No. Now, can you sing? Dua? Can you sing? Little bit, no? Can you run? No. Can you draw? Can you read? Yes. Right. What are your talents? Tell me, 1 or 2 talents. Can you dance? Yeah, good, yes, okay. You can dance. What else? Recite poems? No. Then what? What are the other talents you have? Huh? You can't hear. I am an old man. Now you can dance. Then what? That's all. Okay. Now, if you are a person who is telling lies, if you are a girl who is telling lies, and if you can dance well, when the bucket is upside down, the things are not being seen, your talents are not seen, your abilities are not being accepted. Even if you can dance very well and become the best ballerina dancer in the world, no one will respect you. Because all those talents are hidden as the way the bucket was put upside down. Okay? So if you have a talent of dancing or singing or any other talents in your character, in your life, but if you tell lies, all those qualities will be hidden as if the bucket is put upside down. So do you think lying is a good thing? Now tell me one by one the 4 examples that the Buddha taught Rahula. First thing is, if you lie, your values will be little. Second one, when you lie, you are as if you are thrown away from society, thrown away from the house. Third, when you lie, there's nothing inside. You become an empty person. Third. Then when you lie, if you lie, your values, your character, your good work, your talents, all that will be hidden. So therefore today, you must learn that not to lie. Now, about this word and deeds. Now we mentioned about now the words, that is not to lie, no carry tales, no harsh words, no empty words. Now I'll give you a small story, a true story as that, where when you do bad things physically, it will come on you. And that is also part of nature. Now that's little true story which happened about 10 years back in one of the naval camps in Trincomalee. There was a young lieutenant officer, junior officer, who was very fond of fishing. That, little rotating rod or whatever. So he was putting the rod onto the sea where the ships were, into the deck, from the deck to the sea, and he was fishing. Now this young lieutenant, the young officer, suddenly caught a long fish, about 2.5 feet long, a huge fish. And he was so happy. So with that hook in the mouth of the fish, he took that fish to his commanding officer and showed through the window and said, "Sir, I caught a fish." And the fish was shaking. Then the commanding officer said, "Don't do these dirty things. You are a sinful man. Why do you catch this fish unless you go and throw that into the sea?" and shouted at him. But this young lieutenant did not listen to that advice. What he did was a dirty thing. He took that hook off from the mouth of the fish and put that hook into the eye of the fish. And he was throwing up and down this fish, having that hook in the eye of that huge fish, and took the fish to the kitchen, gave it to the officer's mess cook to cook it for lunch. This is a true story. The cook was also happy that he got a fresh fish, cut and chopped and cooked it. And all the officers by 12:30, 1 o'clock, they all came to the mess and had delicious fish curry. So around 1:30, this particular lieutenant got instructions to report to Karinagar Naval Base. Karinagar Naval Base is in beyond Jaffna, Palale, and you have to go into the sea to go for this particular naval base called Karinagar of Kankasanturi beach. Now this young lieutenant was given a chopper, a helicopter from Trincomalee to fly to Palale, and around 5 o'clock he reached there. Then at 5 o'clock he was given another helicopter to go to his naval base at Karinagar. So by 6:30, this officer who was fishing reported to Karinagar Naval Base. He met all his friends, discussed about what the latest situations by the LTT and the problems that they faced at Trincomalee, shared news. And these unruly bad officers used to take some alcohol also in the nights in the messes. They also did that, like Kottamalli Kala, Now around 9 o'clock, LTT surrounded this camp and started firing at 9 o'clock. So the naval base, the commanding officer gave instruction to switch off all the lights, and the naval personnel, including his lieutenant, went to various positions and started firing outside the camp towards the LTT terrorists. The LTT was firing inside and the naval personnel was firing outside. This firefight in the thick darkness, you cannot see anything. In the thick darkness, the firefight was on till 3 o'clock in the morning. Around 3 o'clock, the LTT withdrew. They ran away. Around 5:30 in the morning, the commanding officer of this particular camp, when the sun was rising up, he went round to see how many has died, who wanted water, some wanted medicine, some were injured. So he was looking after the interest of the injured soldiers and the dead. There were 3 soldiers, naval officers, who have been killed last night through this fire. One was that lieutenant who has reported from Trincomalee last evening. Now his dead body, his face was embedded in the sand. To identify this person, the commanding officer lifted the body and turned upside down to see this was the lieutenant who came from Trincomalee last evening. How has he died? How has he died? A bullet from the LTT has gone through his right eye and pierced through the skull, and half the skull was taken off. That is how he had died. Now in this thick darkness, that piece of bullet doesn't have a heart or a mind in that piece of iron. It could have easily hit him on the shoulder or to his stomach or a leg. But this piece of iron in the thick darkness came in search of his eye. How many hours after he has taken the hook from the mouth of the fish and put into the eye of that fish? How many hours have passed? Only few hours. This is the deed, bad deed, and the same thing came back to him within hours. That he has to die the same way, and the bullet hit him on the ear and half the skull was thrown off. Now this is called nature. This is called Dhamma. This is called Akaliko. You remember the verse that the stanza, the gatha, that when we worship Dhamma, Swakkhatu Bhagavata Dhammo, yes? Go ahead along with me, right? Swakkhatu Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditthiko Akaliko Ehipasiko. Now Akaliko is there's no time. It is true that during Buddha's days, it is true now, it is true in the future. Akaliko. Now this lieutenant died because of the Akalika Dhamma. Then after Akaliko, what is the term? Ehipasiko. What is the meaning of that? Come and see. Come and examine this Dhamma. Come and test this Dhamma. Ehipasiko means inna balanda, come and see. So now these stories in today's, those are actual true stories. So this is the nature, the laws of nature working against you. This is Dhamma. Now I request you, my loving daughters and sons, to be very, very particular about the laws of nature. I touched only the word of mouth by telling lies, carrying tales, insulting people, harsh words. The next is the deed. When you do bad things, you get the same results. This is Dhamma. So on this Vesak week, that I request you to have developed a character, and may I bless the teachers, the staff, the director, principals, and the eminent staff to take the children into this particular path and teach them the laws of nature so that they could be good citizens in the society. We invited the gods to listen to this Dhamma. They all were around this school, this college, listening to the same Dhamma. So we have to give them merits. So therefore, along with me, Ittavata chammehi gata, you can recite along with me. Ittavata chammehi sambhadang punya sambhadang sabbe devanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata chammehi sambhadang punya sampadang sabbe bhutanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata chammehi sambhadang punya sampadang sabbe satthanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. May the principals, the director, the staff have the blessings of the Triple Gem to make the future of these children very good Buddhists and to teach them the laws of nature, laws of Dhamma, and all the merits to their loved ones, the deceased ones. And the day by day I bless this college, see through the success and become one of the finest leading colleges in this country. Vandaganda. Abhivadena silissa nichang vaddha pachayino chattaro dhamma vaddanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha Ato nibbana sampatti minat